Hi guys, I'm going to show you how I've replaced the pump on these Truma Ultraflow hoses that feed water to the caravan. It's about a third of the cost of buying a new unit. I've had my caravan now for about 7 or 8 years, and I've used 3 of these in that time. The pumps seem to fail regularly for no apparent reason. They're not run dry or anything like that. Here we go with how I did it. I have purchased a new replacement pump. This one is called a Comet VIP Plus, and I do believe it's got a slightly increased pump water volume or flow rate to the original. That can only be an improvement. I'll put some information at the end of the video on exactly what this was and where I got it from. The first thing I'm going to do is open up the gun so that I can take things apart and disconnect the cable, and I'm going to do that by pressing in these tabs, 2 on each side, pressing them in, and then the 2 halves of the gun will open up. The gun opens up like this, and you pull off the hose off the connection there and pull off the spade connectors. The spade connectors are 2 different sizes, but it's probably worth noting that the which way round those 2 cables are, i.e. the brown is on the right hand side when you're looking at the caravan, to get the polarity right when you reconnect. On mine, these hose clamps are quite loose, they push off. I'm guessing you could get a screwdriver in there or something, or another pair of pliers to loosen those if there was a need. I've slid the blue sleeve off the hose and the cable, and I'm now going to remove the hose from the pump end, and I'm going to do this by it's quite tight. I'm going to prise a screwdriver in there and twist it and see whether I can get it off like that and loosen the clip. It would probably have been better if I'd gone and bought a piece of new hose from a caravan dealer or a fish tank shop or something like that before I started, but I haven't, so I'm going to clean up the piece of hose that I've got, and in actual fact I'm going to try and clean it out on the inside as well by pulling some string through it or something like that. The inside of the hose is surprisingly dirty, so I've fed a piece of wire through it and I've tied that to a piece of string, and I'm going to pull some rag through the middle of the hose. Look at the state of the dirt that's coming out the middle of this hose. It makes you realise what your water to the caravan is passing through unseen before it gets to your tap. Quite surprising, and this unit has probably been used for a maximum of maybe 2 or 3 years at most. It's particularly bad where the sun is able to get at the ends of the hose, where it's not protected by the sleeve. I've been pulling progressively bigger pieces of rag through the hose, and I'm now satisfied that it is quite clean, although like I said, I think it would be better with a new hose. Unfortunately, the adapter appears to be glued to the end of the existing pump, so mine has broken. So I'm going to have to find an alternative way of filling the gap between the pump and the existing hose. You've got to use the existing hose at its slightly larger size, because of course it fits onto the head at the other end, so one way or another, you've got to have an adapter. I decided to use PTFE tape as to wind round and make into a sort of a washer, if you like, on the end of the new pump to get the thickness to suit the inside of the existing pipe. I've pushed the hose and the clip back onto the new pump with the PTFE tape acting as a filler for the gap. It's actually quite tight as it is, and it'd probably be okay and tight enough without doing anything more, but I'm just going to crimp the stainless steel clip up with a pair of pincers like that, just to see if I can get a bit more bite on the pump. That's a nice tight fit on there now. I've threaded everything back together but the blue sleeve on, and I've temporarily pushed the gun onto the hose. And what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to resolder those spades, cut them off the old pump and resolder them onto the end of the new wire so that they go on the terminals. That's where I've cut the cable, ready to resolder the terminals back on. I cut my cable slightly long in the end because I realised that there's actually enough play inside the gun when it's stripped for it to compress up a little bit and give you a bit of leeway, a bit of movement, or if stretched or pulled, the cable won't come off the terminals. I've refitted the tube over the cable and pipe. I've fitted and put the cover over the water bottle on first, and I've done that before I fit the ends and the spades, because I don't think the spade's going to fit up this inside of the blue tube. And I've put a bit more slack into my ends of my cable because I've realised that within the actual housing where it connects on, there's enough room for a bit of slack cable to sit inside so that it doesn't ever pull at the terminals. I've soldered the spades back on and slid a bit of sleeving over first to go over and protect the join. I have opened out the existing clip with a screwdriver to allow it to slip on. I've pushed the hose back onto the gun, and I'm going to crimp up the stainless steel clip, the existing one, with a pair of pincers just to get a good grip on the hose. I'm going to just clip the gun back together and go and try it on the Caravan. I've connected the pump up to the Caravan, and it works fine and cuts in and out under pressure as it should. That's what we get. Turn it off, just hear the pump running, cuts out, so it's all working nicely.